Hi there, folks. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Kershaw 1760 Skyline. But in addition to this review, this knife, I'm also going to be making some commentary and some the reviewer comments regarding Nutnfancy and his fairly recent review of the Kershaw Skyline 1760, because I truly feel that Nutnfancy missed the mark on his evaluation of this knife, and to be honest, I think he needs to be taken to task for it. By and large, I'm a big fan of Nutnfancy. I always watch his videos, and I've come to rely on him as a data point, not my only data point, but as a very strong data point when I make gear purchases. And almost based solely on the strength of his review of the Skyline 1760, because he calls it a Hall of Famer. And in his review he says, I quote, "You should have one, preferably 5 of these knives." That's a pretty strong endorsement. That to me says that, you know, whatever negatives that the knife has greatly outweigh the positives. And I'm not really sure that that's the case here. So let me go ahead and talk about this knife, what I like and what I don't. I'm going to talk about the blade, but first of all I'm going to talk about deployment, because I think this is an area that Nutnfancy misses the mark. There's 2 primary ways to deploy this knife. One is by the pusher here, 2 is by the thumb studs. Okay, which is preferred? Well, I have issues with both, to be honest. The pusher. Now, this is my first pusher, but in my mind, I should be able to push down on this pusher and the knife should fully deploy. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. You can't really deploy this knife with the pusher alone. You really need a combination of pusher and wrist flick, excuse me. It is a liner lock, you can see, but you can't really, without flicking that open, you can't really deploy it with just the pusher. And I kind of have a small issue with that. Wouldn't have as big of an issue with that if you could effectively deploy it with the thumb studs. But in my point of view, in my opinion, the thumb studs are an even worse option than you have with the pusher, because the thumb studs are almost unusable. Nutnfancy says that they are a little hard to use. Let's try a lot hard to use. Okay, when I do the close-ups here, you're going to see that the thumb stud is almost flush with the G10 handles here. So, you know, they are small to begin with. They're inset too deeply, I think. And they're also, their size makes them kind of sharp and pointy, which means not only can you not get a good grip, but okay, because you can't get a good grip, that means you have to press harder. Now you're pressing hard on this pointy little thumb stud, and that kind of hurts. Can you use it? Yeah, but wow, it hurts. And especially if you slip, as I have a couple times, because again, it's flush, it's very easy to slip, and when that scrapes across your thumb, it hurts, because that's pretty sharp. So I don't like the thumb studs on this at all. So, and you know, if you're not good with your wrist flick, it's pretty hard to push open. I did take some Torx bits and tried to loosen the pivot screw just a quarter turn, but that began to introduce some blade play. So I put it back on basically the factory tightness. Would some lubrication help this? Possibly, and I'm going to try that because, you know, you just need a lot of force or a lot of wrist flick to effectively open this knife. There we go. So that's kind of a big negative in my mind, and I'm disappointed that Nutnfancy kind of glossed over the thumb stud issue, because that to me is a pretty big hit. Let's talk about the blade itself. The blade is the best part of this knife. It is a 14C28N Sandvik steel. This is the same blade steel that's used in my Kershaw 7000 Breakout, which I've really come to respect that steel. Out of the box, this is probably one of the sharpest knives I've ever gotten out of the box, right up there with Spyderco, if not even sharper. And I think I can probably even improve that just a little bit by running it over the ceramic stones in my sharp maker. I haven't done that yet, but based on my experience with this blade steel in my 7000 Breakout, I expect it to sharpen up extremely well. That was a big draw for me on this knife. Beyond Nutnfancy's review is I really like the blade sharpening performance on that 14C28N Sandvik steel. So that's a big plus. Blade shape is great, kind of a spear point with a flat grind there. So the blade is definitely the best part of the knife, and the length of this knife, particularly in relation to the weight. You're going to see some stats pop up here on the weight and the length, but in my mind, once you get over 3 inches, then you're talking about something that you potentially could use, if pressed, in a self-defense role. So in theory, with this being about a 3 1/8 inch blade, you know, I'll call it primarily a utility knife, but you know, it could be pressed into a light tactical or light self-defense use as well. So that's great. That's another big plus to this knife. And at 2.3 ounces, it's, you know, you're never going to complain about that weight while you're carrying it. It's going to disappear in your pocket. So you know, in terms of being an EDC blade, carrying it, the size is great. It's also very, very thin. These G10 handles are quite thin, so it's not going to take up a lot of thickness in your pocket. So it's going to be a knife that's good to carry. You're not going to have any problems carrying this. So that's definitely good about this knife. The G10 handles have a fairly aggressive texturing to them. Is that good or is that bad? I'm kind of ambivalent about that. It's fairly grippy. Is it bad? Why would that be bad? Well, if you've got real aggressive texturing on the knife, then you could potentially be talking about excessive wear to the pocket, depending on the stiffness of the pocket clip. And that's where I'm going to talk about next with my review, is the pocket clip. Do not like this pocket clip. Okay, it is reversible. You can go tip up or tip down with it. I did reverse it. It came with a tip down carry. I've reversed it for tip up. But wow, this, I don't know if you can see this. I'm using considerable force with my thumb right now, and I can just barely even move that off the handle, the very tip. I can't put this back and remove it from my pocket with one hand. It's a two-handed use because of that pocket clip. And I'll go on record as saying that, in my opinion, in my estimation, I don't have the facts to prove this because I haven't owned it and carried it long enough, but I think if this was a daily carrier for you, I think over time you would definitely see pocket wear due to the stiffness of this pocket clip. So that's a concern for me. I don't like the pocket clip. It is just too stiff. And again, this is something that Nutnfancy doesn't even talk about. I mean, he talks about the fact that the thumb clip isn't ambidextrous. You can't use it on the opposite side like you can with a lot of Spydercos, but he apparently doesn't have a problem with the stiffness of this thing, and I can't imagine that anybody wouldn't. Okay, time for some close-up footage of this Kershaw 1760 Skyline. And what I want to bring your attention to right away are these thumb studs. And hopefully you can see just how almost flush these are with the G10 handles here. You don't have much of a detent for your thumb to get to that thumb stud on either side. It's very small. Let me again bring in my Benchmade mini griptilian so you can just compare the size of the thumb stud there. It borders on being unusable on the 1760 Skyline, which is a shame because I really like a thumb stud. I was really attracted to this knife because I thought that having both a thumb stud and a pusher would have some great options for you. But in my mind, the thumb stud is almost a non-starter. Some more footage of the G10 handles. Hopefully you can see some of the texturing on that. Okay, so there's my review of the Skyline 1760. And it's going to diverge pretty sharply from Nutnfancy's opinion of this knife. I think it's a great $30 knife because you can pretty easily find this even at Walmart for about $30. And I think it's a great $30 knife. Again, I compared it a little bit to this Benchmade 556 mini griptilian, much more expensive knife. Twice as much, if not a little bit more. So it's a great $30 knife. Is it a great knife? I don't believe so. I think when you've got some of the issues that I've talked about here in terms of the deployment speed, which to me is lacking, the thumb stud issues, the pusher issues, the clip issues, this is not a great knife. This is a great $30 knife. It has some great attributes, no question. The weight, the length, the blade steel. This is going to be a very good EDC choice. But I think there's better choices. Is this a quote-unquote, use my air quotes there, Hall of Famer? Not in my book. Maybe in Nutnfancy's, but not in my book. And I think that the shortcomings that this knife has really should have been addressed in more detail in Nutnfancy's review to give a more balanced review and to give a more accurate view of both the pluses, which are many for this knife, as well as the negatives or the cons. So hope you enjoyed this review. Of course, lots more coming. Please subscribe. Please leave me some comments. Let me know your thoughts. Am I way off base here? Am I being too hard on Nutnfancy? Hey, I like the guy. I think he does some great reviews. I just think he's missed the mark here considerably on this one. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next video.